Welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview the biggest and most successful real estate entrepreneurs, investors, and capital raisers in the world to provide you with the tool sets, the mindsets, and the skill sets to help you conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. If what you're after is having it all, if what you desire is becoming the best version you can be across all areas, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, sentimentally, and financially, you've come to the right place. We will bring to you the best of the best real estate entrepreneurs who will give you the insights, knowledge, experience, and skills so that you can go out and crush it financially and across all areas of your life. Grab pencil and paper, sit back, enjoy, and you are welcome to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. Hello, Modern Kings and Queens. Welcome to another episode of the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast, where we interview some of the most successful real estate investors out there to provide you with the tool sets, mindsets, and skill sets for you to be able to conquer yourself, your life, your marriage, and use real estate as your wealth creation vehicle so that you can achieve financial freedom and be able to live a more successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and contribution. So I'm super excited today. I'm going to get right into it. And today I have Kyle Root. He started buying real estate back in 2020. He was able to go from 0 to 70 units in 2 years without using any type of syndication or joint venture, which is a new one, right, for this episode. And at 26, he left his W-2 job. Now at 28, he continues to scale his real estate business, and he now coaches others to do the same that he's been doing with little money into it. His goal is to help others understand their full potential, and this can be accomplished through many different. Kyle is accomplishing this through many different ventures, like his coaching program and his real estate investing. So, Kyle, thank you very much for being here, man. I really appreciate you, and I'm excited for this episode. I'm excited to get to talk to you, learn from you a bit, and just get to connect with you on this podcast. So, thank you for being here, and you're welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Appreciate it, man. I'm excited.
So, Kyle, the first thing that I do with my guest is I ask them to walk us through their real estate investing journey in 75 seconds or less.
Sure. So as you kind of touched on, bought my first property in 2020. It was a side-by-side duplex, and I house hacked that one, put 5% down, renovated it, and yeah, kind of just realized at the end of the day, I had like 30 grand wrapped up into it. Took me forever. I'm like, this isn't going to work long term. I can't scale the way I want to scale. So I started figuring out after a few different properties. I was at like maybe 5, 6 properties after that. Still in 2020, I was like, I know that I can go to private investors and say, hey, I've got some real estate, backing, and I've done a few deals. Would you guys be interested in lending 100 grand on a duplex, and I'll give you 10% return on 3 points? And I just kept doing that, and then as I was able to find more real estate investors that didn't want to be a landlord anymore, they're just sick of their tenants, whatever it might be. I really just started blowing these things up and was able to keep utilizing private funds, hard money, and then I started bringing in other people, and it's just, dude, it just starts compounding. Like you start being around more money, you get more access to people, you have better contacts, deal flow starts coming your way. And yeah, man, I just started bringing some people in, taking the stuff off my plate that I didn't want to do. I was able to find a way to compensate everybody in my team that I was able to compensate them through my underwriting process. And yeah, man, so sitting around 70 units by just implementing people, raising my standards in the company, and we just kept going. We were able to do it in 2.5 years.
Awesome. So in 2020, you bought your duplex. That's what 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. And then right now,
Yep.
in less than 3 years, you've been able to go from 0 to 70 rentals, right? Damn. So are all of those like single and duplexes, or what type of properties is your portfolio composed of, man?
Yeah, everything is under 4 units. So I'd say probably 50% of it is single family homes. I've just found my niche here in Wisconsin. I buy mostly in the Midwest, so I found my niche with single families. I buy them super cheap. I put a good amount of money into them. I'm able to do cash out refinances, get my money back, they all cash flow 300-400 bucks a month. I found my niche there. Along the way, we picked up some small multifamily, but yeah, man, our niche is single family, small multifamily. We don't own anything over 5 units. So
Okay. So I was gonna ask, when you say small multifamily, like how small do you mean by that? But yeah, okay. So under 5 units then.
correct. Yep.
Okay. This is very interesting because right now I was looking at your Instagram, and you and I watched a video of you saying how you need to just find your niche and like master it, right? And really build all those systems and processes in place just so that you can do that same one thing better, right? To not like, as soon as you do, as soon as you feel like you did that one thing good, then most entrepreneurs or most real estate investors try to go to the next thing, right? And then that's when everything messes up and everything falls down because the key was not going to something else. The key was doubling down on that one thing that they got good once or twice or maybe a couple of dozen times, and to just stick with it and doing it until you were like until it worked like a clock, basically, right? So just building the systems and the processes and putting in the people in place, so that you can do it as best and as you can, right? And really, really get good at that, because the reality is, man, that you could do money with whatever, right? As long as you get really good at it, right? So you found your niche. Have you ever thought about going into like big commercial multifamily?
Yeah, man. I've thought about everything, right? I've thought about going to big commercial multifamily. I've thought about buying retail. I've thought about buying storage facilities. And again, I keep going back to, for me, um, I'm great at what I do and where my lane is. And I think a lot of people lose out on their portfolio. And I call it when they start getting cute, when they start thinking that, exactly, they start spreading themselves so far. And I'm not, for me, it's like, would I rather spend 10 hours researching and developing what I've already built, or spending 10 hours to go learn retail? Like, for me, it's going to take me 100, 300, 500 hours to learn and dominate the way I can in my own lane. So though people will say, yeah, you can get your better returns elsewhere, for me, return is not always just, you know, cash on cash return. What's your return on time? If someone's making 20% return in commercial real estate and I'm making 10% return, which is, I'm just giving for easy math, it's not what
For
I'm
sure.
making, but if I'm getting 10% return on a single family home, what if I buy two single family homes, and now those two properties are each at 10%, the way my money's invested, like, I can just keep doubling down and tripling down on that return, right? And like, I'm just never going to be a person that spreads thin. I spread my systems thin, my methods, my implementation of people. I just think that's how people lose, and I'm
Yeah,
going to
there's no
stay
need,
stay in
right?
my place. Yep, for sure.
So, hello, morning kings and queens. At my company, Millionaire Network Automation, we believe in the power of networking. We believe that in real estate, your net worth is your network. This is why we help real estate investors raise capital by connecting them with their ideal investors and helping them build a massive network of their ideal investors in less than 30 days and with only 4 hours of work per week. If you're interested in this, click the link below in the description of this podcast to learn how you can propel your growth with a reliable system that will consistently help you connect with your ideal investors, build trust, add value, get your investors to promote you and put you in front of more of their investor friends, and raise more capital faster and in a much more effortless way so that you can achieve your financial freedom and still have the time and the energy to pour into every single other area of your life. So go watch the training, and you're going to have the opportunity to book a call to talk about how you can get this 100% done for you system implemented in the next 5 days. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later, and enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. I actually just went to the mall like yesterday. Yeah, yesterday was Sunday, right? Yeah. Yesterday we went to the mall and we saw this like huge marketing thing right inside the mall from Panda Express, promoting that now they're selling wraps, right? And then I told my wife, she told me, "Look, Panda's now selling wraps," right? And then I was like, "Yeah, they think that the way to make more money is to add another line of products, but the reality is that if they just focused on making the like their food better, right? Like higher quality, more tastier, and all of that, right? They would make more sales. They would like double their sales, because if I went to like every time I go to Panda Man, and I get something, well, I almost never do just because I don't eat that type of food. But whenever I do, I'm like sad. I'm like mad about it, right? Like I'm not satisfied. I'm not a happy, satisfied customer. And now they're selling reps, so now they're not gonna do one thing wrong. They're gonna do two things wrong because if their one core product sucks, the other one's gonna suck even more, right? So now they have two products that sucks. And I told my wife, yeah, they want to make more money. So why did they? She told me, she asked me, why do you think they did that? And then I was like, they just want to make more money, and they think that the way to make more money is to add something else to their product line. In the case of real estate investors, they think that to make more money, they gotta add another line of real estate investments to their portfolio. But no, right? What they gotta do is just double down on the one thing that they're good at. Because as you said, as we spread thinner, right? We're just dividing our attention into more things, right? And basically, we're dividing our competence into, smaller chunks to different things, so we cannot be good at anything. And that's a really important thing, man. So I want to keep on talking about that. So when did you find this concept of like niching down? When was like the first time you came across it, and how did you? Because I have my own story, right? Um, to as to like what needed to happen in order for me to realize that, oh, I got to niche down when I really understood it. So how did that happen for you? How did you always knew that you needed a niche, or how did that go?
Yeah. So no, I didn't think that I was always going to stay in this lane. I always thought in my head I was always a unit guy. Like I want 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000. Like I was always like I was measuring my success based on the amount of units that I have.
Mm-hmm.
And we just recently went through a crazy 2022, 2021, 2020 like time frame where NFTs and crypto and all of these different avenues to make money came
Yeah.
about. So there's so many different ways where people are talking about crypto's the place to put your money. NFTs are the next big thing. The meta real estate was once talked about for a while, and it's just like when all of these things were happening,
What do you do?
something clicked with me, man. And it was like, when there is so much noise, silence everything. When there's so much noise out there, silence everything, go back to your core. And like I was investing in crypto, wasn't even paying attention, man. Like my focus was everywhere. So basically the way I came to my niche is by spreading myself thin and being like, oh boy, this ain't good.
Yeah,
So
and failing.
minimized, came back to the niche, and now we're just kind of like plowing forward. But
Man, I just think this is super important because I think all like literally all entrepreneurs go through, man. Like, I was just talking to a guy right now on Messenger, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm a real estate. I have my real estate license. I'm a real estate investor." And then he posted about a website that he was selling clothes, and then he posted about another thing that he was selling another gadget. And I told him, right, look, man, you're young, right? I've been through what you're going through, and I know this is unsolicited advice, but this is what you should do. And I basically told him to just focus on real estate and let everything else go, because I went through that, man. And it was really painful. So I had another business like 3 years ago, and my niche was everyone. I was helping the entire world get like a specific transformation, and it was really hard to get clients. Whenever I did get clients, I needed to give every single one of those clients a different service because they were all different. And I was working a lot, right? And I'm really curious about what success is for you now, because you were like, I was a unit guy, right? The way that the stick that I used to measure my success was units, 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 right? Not anymore, right? So I'm curious to see or to learn about what is the stick that you use to measure your success now. But to continue this story, I basically made really little money. It was really hard to make that really little money, and I had to work a lot to make that really little money, right? And it was really hard to get clients because everyone was different. And then I once I did an event for 100 people, and about 17 people showed up. But all of those 17 people, all of them were from like different niches, different industries, different businesses, right? Like a hot
mhm.
dog stand, like a girl who sold clothes. It was like crazy, right? And then on my presentation, right, on my on the talk that I gave, like I didn't know what the fuck to say because I didn't know who I was talking to, man. And that's when it clicked, right? And then weeks after my event, it failed. Weeks after my event, I did it was huge, right? Like I had billboards all over my town and stuff. I had like 10 billboards and everyone knew about this and just 17 people showed up. But weeks after that, people came up to me and they were like, "Hey, I saw you. Like I saw you on the billboard. Is that you?" Yeah. And I saw and it sounded cool, but I didn't I didn't sign up, right? And that same message keep repeating and repeating and repeating over and over and over again because my message was spread so thin that it didn't move anyone. It didn't get anyone to take action, right? Everyone saw it, but it wasn't like the message wasn't directed to them, so they didn't take action, man. And that's when it clicked, and that's why I understood. And ever since, I'm just in my lane, focused. I don't, I blocked everything else out, and I'm focused on my niche, and I'm focused on my one thing, and that's how I learned it, man. So I'm
Yeah.
curious, and it's so important, man, and I'm so passionate about this because this one lesson would have saved me years, right, of struggle and effort and sacrifice, right? Like I worked a lot, I sacrificed a lot, and I didn't have to, because I once had 15 clients and I lost them all because I was going crazy servicing different things to different people. And if I had learned this before, I wouldn't had worked so hard. I would have made more money and I would have had more peace of mind. So that's why I'm like so passionate about this topic, man. But I want to ask you, what's your stick to measure success now? If it's not units, then what is it?
So obviously, I still want to grow in units, right? Like when I say that, yeah, I don't measure my success level on units. I think that for the most part, dude, for me, it's all about implementing systems and growing organically, growing the right way. And I think I want to go back to how we were talking about staying in your lane, and I'll kind of circle this back in. Is like people need to understand that just because we're saying stay in your lane, that lane needs to yield a result. And if that lane doesn't yield the result, you're probably in the wrong lane.
Hmm.
So for me, when I was buying properties and I was like, if I cash flow, if I make money, I'm buying it. And come to turn out, like I was probably better off spending more time trying to find a better deal than just buying everything, right? Like I was better off buying one deal that month than four okay deals. Like might as well just dig a little bit deeper and find a really, really good one. So right now we're focused on um, kind of trading some of our bad for good. We're buying at volume, and we're just getting rid of some of our poor performers. We're bringing in new ones, just doing a little bit of trading, if you will. And to kind of tie it into what I believe success is today in my life is two things. One, through my coaching business, which is helping other people win. I mean, what's more exciting than seeing someone else win, come to you and saying, "Hey, Alex, look at what I did," and you're like, "That's awesome." Based on the information I gave you, you went and took action. I love that. I love seeing other people win. So for me,
Yeah.
that's one part to success. And then within my own portfolio, all we're trying to do is grow our net worth and grow our cash flow. If that means more units, so be it. If it means trading units, so be it. But we're focused on growing cash flow, growing our net worth.
Cool. Awesome. So the first one, which is impact with your coaching business, teaching other people do what you've done, right? So talk to me about that, man. Um, um, yeah, talk to me a little bit about that coaching business that
Yeah,
you're running.
yeah. So it's a one-on-one coaching program, and I think a lot of people know if you're in the coaching space, you know that you can make more money by selling a program, not selling a one-on-one, because one-on-one's not really scalable. But
Yeah.
for me, it wasn't about scalability. It was about, and just like you said before we got on, and as soon as we got on, how you're about relationship building. It's tough to build a relationship when you're sending out a 12-week course and you're not doing any, face-to-face interaction. So I wanted to make sure it was one-on-one, and I was able to formulate my coaching towards someone's specific financial situation. If you have a 700 credit score versus a 560 credit score, it's gonna matter. Like it somewhere along the lines, your financial habits are different than what that person at 700 is. It's just the
Hmm.
reality of it. Like a credit score is not the end all be all. But yeah, so my coaching program is just one on one. I want to make sure that I can connect with you. It's a 12 weeks. We hop on a one-on-one call every single week for 12 weeks. And basically, using my method and my model, I guarantee that you will get a property under contract by the end, or I work with you for free until we do. And that's just kind of, I believe, so in depth into my program and what I've built and what I'm able to show people. It was kind of just it was just time, man. It was time to give back, and it was time to help other people, see the fruits and of real estate, because it's incredible. It's life changing.
For sure. And if people want to like schedule a call, right? Because like getting your first property under contract in 12 weeks or you work with them for free until they do is like a nice offer, right? I
Yeah.
would take it. So let's say that I just listened to this podcast and I'm like, oh damn, like what do I do to talk to this guy? So where would be the best place for people to go to get a hold of you and talk a little bit more about how they can get started?
Yeah, so I would just go to my Instagram, which is KJ_root. Go there, shoot me a DM, and we'll just kind of do a few back and forths. I'll learn a little bit about you, send you my calendar, and we'll hop on a call and see if it's a good fit. And that's the other thing. I just got off another call this morning, and I was talking to a gentleman about coaching, and he's also a coach. And we were talking about how there's a lot of people out there that want to get on calls and just all they want to do is sell. They want you to sell. They want to sell their program or their coaching, get your money, and then provide a mediocre service. The best coaches out there are willing to turn people away, and I am. Like, if you come to me and say, Kyle, I want to learn how to scale a wholesale business, I'm not your guy. I've never done it. I don't know. I'm not a flipper. I'm
Yeah.
not a large multifamily guy. I'm just not. And I'll what I want to do right now is I want to build relationships with those coaches, though. I want to find the people like you. I want to find the people that are great wholesale coaches, or multifamily, or whatever, so I can push people in the right direction. And I think too many people are just looking for a quick dollar rather than giving real honest results.
Yeah, I just read a really interesting book. I don't know if you've ever read it. Start with Why by Simon Sinek.
Good
Well,
book.
I didn't just read it. I read it a long time ago, but I've been
Yeah.
implementing it, so that's why it feels fresh. And it's basically about starting with why, right? With why you do things. And he's talking about how working with people who believe the same that you believe, right? Who have the same values, vision, and beliefs is going to like take the relationship far further than if you just work with someone just for the money or just because you felt like, oh, like he's gonna pay me. He wants to work with me, right? So basically, like me, I work with men who not only want to like raise capital, right, or want to build a massive network of their investors, but who are also in alignment with that modern king idea, right? Who are working to become the best version of themselves, not only financially, not only trying to make money, but across all areas of their life. Because I found that when I work with those types of people, we get better results. Everyone is happy, like they're happier, we're happier. They feel like they're getting a good service, and then I feel appreciated, right? But I work with people who do not share the same values, beliefs, and values, beliefs, and their why, right, and their vision, and it's hard to work with them, man. And there's nothing that you can do to make them feel satisfied, right? And then you feel unappreciated. You feel like you didn't do your job, and it's not. It wasn't you or it wasn't them. It was that disalignment. So making sure that they're a good fit is truly important. So I really appreciate that. So yeah. And who is this program? Who is your one-on-one program for, man?
So it's for the people that are looking for their first investment, whether you're looking for your first single family duplex 4 unit, when you're at a place where you're looking for your first, or your second or third, just starting out. Though I think I can help people that are looking to scale. Maybe you got 10 and you're looking to scale, but that's not really my niche. My niche is someone that's looking to get their first, second, third one, just get their first couple properties, and someone that really wants more out of life. And like you were saying, man, like, I don't, from a personality standpoint, I have a very difficult time working with someone that's, poor me, not a go-getter, someone that, is kind of plays the victim mentality. It's just not going to work, man. It's not going to work in real estate, and it's just not going to work for, the people that I'm trying to help. But if you're a hungry person, if you want to make a change, if you want to make your first investment, and it's not, I'd say this all the time. It's not about the information. always. It's more so about the mindset, having the ability to overcome barriers and overcome these obstacles that come your way. Like, all the information's out there, but yet people still don't take action. Why? Because they have fears. They have fears
Yeah.
that they can't overcome. And for people like you and I, maybe we can remove those fears. Maybe we can instill confidence into your life and completely change the trajectory of where you're headed. And I think coaches that are experienced, that have a track record, and that have more than just a real estate message, they stand for something. I think they can do great things for the right person.
Hmm. Yeah. It definitely has a lot to do with mindset, right? And with having fears. You could have all the information and skills and knowledge, but still not take action. So and that's where most people are, and they're faced with obstacles that they do not go through, not because they don't have that information or skills or knowledge, but because they have fears, right? And a gap in their mindset. So what are some? Tell me a story about like some obstacles that you've had to overcome.
Yeah. So I'll give you the most recent one. The most recent one is we had about a ten property portfolio that we were looking to refinance, and we had it in the hands of our normal lender. He Our normal lender was refinancing all these properties, and again, if you go back to, we have private investors that we have to pay back, and for us it's 6 month balloon, and we were at like month 4, and they were all fully stabilized, ready to rock, cash flowing, looking good. And this lender, specifically, it wasn't specifically him, it was rather the bank. They over leveraged themselves, and during the interest spike, they kind of pulled back on their criteria. We were looking for 80% loan to value, and then they went from 80% loan to value down to 70% loan to value. And I had to go to my investors and tell them, like, hey, I'm just letting you guys know that I'm gonna have to extend this a month. And long story short, I had to go other lenders to lend on. I already had the appraisals, so it wasn't a huge deal. But I had to pivot quick, man. Like, you take 10 properties, you're looking at a portfolio well over 1.5 million, and like, I had to go to a bunch of other lenders and just reach out and say, "Hey, here's the situation." And for me, I wasn't ready. Like, you're not ready to wake up on a Tuesday and be like, "Man, you think you're close to the closing table, and a huge pivot happens." It's yeah. I was extremely unemotional about it, and this is what goes into something that I've conditioned myself is like, regardless of how you wake up, your emotions, your feelings, whatever's in front of you, if you can still operate in a forward motion and still take action, still operate regardless of how you feel, you'll be successful. Too many people let their feelings and emotions dictate the way they operate. I don't. I look at tasks, I know what needs to get done. When bad information, I when information that's not beneficial to me in that moment comes my way, fine. I've been through this 100 times. If you crawl up like a snail every single time something comes your way, you haven't done enough hard things in life. Like,
Yeah.
when you've conditioned yourself to overcome enough obstacles, another obstacle is just like waking up in the morning. It's just another thing that you do. You
Yeah.
know, it becomes easy. So it's just conditioning yourself to overcome obstacles, in my belief. But that was the most recent one.
So it's reps, because yeah, I think I believe it's reps, man. It's reps and being aware of it, right? Being aware that you're putting in the reps. Because I remember when back in the day I used to get this like I don't know how to explain them, just because my first language is Spanish and I forgot the word. But this I would get like depressed, right? Like I would follow the horse. There you go. I would follow the horse, right? Because like I don't know, maybe a client didn't close, or like a lead that I called, treated me badly or something like that, and I would follow the horse. Honestly, man, once every week, like every 3 days, like before.
Yeah.
And then I used to last like 3 days off the horse, and then recover and then get back on track. And then as I was putting in the reps, that went to like 2 days, depressed and being unable to take action, right? Unable to like literally think, unable to just get out of my head. And then that turned into one day, and then that turned into like a couple of hours. I still follow the horse, I still get like down, but then I'm able to shift it really quickly, and then keep on moving forward. And then back then it used to happen every week, and then every month, and then every every now and then. And then when it happens, it happens for a very brief amount of time, and then I am able to just shift my frame and focus on what needs to get done and get it done, right? But I think one of the things that has really helped me with that is like my habits, right? Like habits that have nothing to do with business. So for example, I get to the gym and it's leg day and I don't want to do legs, man. And like my literally my mind is screaming, no, please, no, let's go home. You know, that's how my mind is. Like
Yeah.
I don't want to get under the bar and put 225 pounds on it and start squatting for like 12 reps. Like I just don't want to, but I do it anyway, right? In the morning, I wake up every single day at 4 a.m. My alarm goes off and I don't want to wake up, man, but I do it anyway. I have not a diet, but I do eat in a certain way. And
Yep.
sometimes I just want to go, I just want to go and eat a fucking pie, but I
Yeah.
don't, right? So all of those habits across all of the other areas of my life, right? Putting in the reps in all of those areas of my life have helped me be able to implement that skill set in business. So what about you? Like how do you do you maintain yourself unemotional, not unaffected? Because you're affected, right? You just don't show it.
Correct.
And how are you able to? How have you been able to build this muscle, this like resiliency muscle, to keep on going in spite of whatever it is that you're feeling or whatever it is that's happening that should have taken you down, right? And should have made you feel depressed and without wanting to keep on moving forward. How have you been able to build that muscle, man?
Yeah, I think it's funny you're saying kind of your morning routine, and it sounds very similar to mine. You got me by a half hour. I wake up at 4:30, not 4, so I might have to step up my game. But I wake up early, man. I wake up early. First thing I do is I read 10 pages. I journal and drink my coffee, and I'm off to the gym. And I think exercise, and I know this isn't an exercise podcast, but I think exercise is, if you can make that one of the most difficult parts of your day, everything else feels easier. If you can put your body through physical exertion and you're testing your mind and your body at the same time, what else can really come your way that you can't overcome? You just lifted weights or ran 5 miles, or even if your limit is walking to the end of the driveway and back, if you do that, you just started your day off with one win. You just started it off. You're already headed in the right direction. For me, what I was able to do is, so I like played college football. So like working out's always been part of my life. But for me, it was having the ability to control my mind. And I don't think a lot of people know that they can control their thoughts, their emotions, and the way they operate. They let their mind run them. And I was just talking to my wife last week about this,
Mm-hmm.
how life is kind of about seasons. When business is going really, really well, everything business, or your workouts are going well. Everything seems to be clicking, and I call this flow state. When you're in flow state, you should be doubling down on that, because adversity is coming.
Yeah.
Regardless of what you think,
That's
adversity is either here
what
or it's
life is
coming.
about, right?
For sure. And when you can, and you were saying it was so great, Alex, when you were saying reps, when you've been through enough ups and downs and being able to live a life through equanimity, when you've done that enough repetitions, you know what's coming. And when you know that something is going to happen again, like when you're happy, how do you not know at some point in your life you might be sad again? Or when you're sad, you should, when people are down, they think happiness will never happen again. But when you're happy, you're like, well, I'm probably not going to stay here for the rest of my life. Like when you feel a moment of bliss, like you should be self-aware enough to know that that blissfulness literally doesn't last forever. You know that hardship is coming. But when things are hard, why do we just think we're always going to be stuck in this hard thing? How do we not know that good is going to come out of it? So once you've had enough repetitions, like you were saying, once you've seen it enough times, you're kind of able to just, move through life, just letting things bounce off you, not being over and emotional. And I don't mean this from a sense of like I don't show love, or I don't cry, or I don't smile. Like I'm not like
Just neutral.
emotion. Yeah, I'm not emotionless, but I don't let my emotions run me.
Yeah, that's so great, man. And this is not a podcast about working out or any of that stuff, but it is a podcast about. It's a real estate podcast. which also talks about having it all, right? So I think
Yeah.
we're doing good. Um, and you mentioned this really interesting concept called flow, man. And actually, and another thing, which is contrast. So I went to the movies this weekend with my wife, and we watched an incredibly horrorful movie, man. It's you should go and watch it, and everyone here should go and watch it. Um, this guy who made it, I don't remember Lee Cronin. He did an incredible job, man. The movie is called Dead Evil, and it's amazing, man. And I had a lot of fun. I screamed. Everyone was laughing because not because of the movie, but because of me, because I was just like
Yeah.
screaming in the movie. And then once we got out, I was like, I really enjoyed that. And then I told my wife, but you want to know why I really enjoyed that? It wasn't because I was like screaming and shitting my pants. It was because of the contrast between that and every other area of my life, every other day in my life, and where I'm happy or sad or whatever. Like it was a huge contrast, right? I'm always never scared, and I didn't enjoy being scared. I enjoyed the contrast between being scared and being happy. Right? Like
That's
that's what I enjoy,
awesome.
the contrast, which I believe is what life is all about. Contrast and just experiencing things and being able to go through that contrast, right? Being able to go through those lows and highs without fundamentally changing who you are, right? And just going through them unaffected, right? And looking for what the lesson is within those events, right? And I think that is the key to flow, man. Um, I don't know if you've ever read, but I'm pretty big in on these like topics on like spiritual things and like
Yeah.
being aware and awareness and stuff. Power versus force talks about four state of consciousness, right? The first one is like victim mentality, and most of the world is there. Most of the world is in victim mode and thinking that everything happens to them. Then the second level is the achiever mode, where people are now like get out of the victim mentality. They take responsibility and they start achieving. They start trying to achieve. They start trying to work hard. They start trying to, and now they think that everything that happens by them, right? So it shifted from everything happens to me to everything happens by me, right? So those are the most of the people in personal development are there. They're working really hard, and they're just spending massive amounts of energy to get the things that they want happen. Then the third phase is flow, right? And that's a mentality that says everything happens through me, right? And and it's more of like you let things happen instead of wanting to make things happen. That takes a lot of effort, right? You just um you just trust that the universe, you know, wants everything going your way, and it's more like effortless, man. And it's about being able to handle all of those different peaks and troughs in your life. So, what do you have anything to say about flow, man? I'm
Yeah.
just interested.
Yeah, so it's cool some of your interests because they actually align with a lot of mine as well. And I'm a firm believer in like the quantum field and physics and just like karmic debt. Like what you put in, you get out. Like the energy and the frequency at which you operate life. Like if you're a high energy person, a positive, and you regardless of what's happening in your life, good things come your way. And people think like for me, the words that come out of my mouth, the conversations that I have, the people I surround myself with, I try to keep them as positive as they possibly can be.
Mm-hmm.
And when people aren't, when that's not around me, I'm in a low frequency state. And when I'm in a low frequency state, my conversations are different, the people around me are different, everything around me is different. So I try to operate at a high level of frequency, which means getting up early, working out, having doing all the things that I need to do in a positive way, help people. Everything that comes with what you believe, everyone that's listening to this, whatever you believe is good, doing the good at a high frequency, having the right mindset while you're going through it, um, good just starts coming your way. You don't have to always search for it. Like when I started just letting stuff go and not holding on to grudges and just looking at people as like, what can you do for me rather than what can I do for you? Honestly, I started making more money. I had better relationships. Life just became easier, man. Like it's just too many people overwhelm themselves with, and I get it. Like there's people out there, man, they're trying to just pay gas, right? They're just trying to
Yeah.
provide for their family. And like we're sitting up here talking about, let flow happen. But even from that state, like if you can find a way to operate at less, and I don't mean less intensity as far as not being passionate, but less like what can people do for me, more like let me help however I can. I guarantee you things start becoming easier for people.
For sure. And it's also, I think it's also not about not doing things, right? And just, oh, I'm gonna let
Correct.
the universe take care of it. It's not. No, it's not about that. Because like I haven't stopped waking up at 4 a.m. Right?
Me neither.
But what I've stopped doing is being emotional about the things, right? Like whenever a bad things happen, I used to feel bad.
Yeah.
But now, like when a bad things happen, I know that, oh, right, like this is actually a blessing, and there's a lesson in that blessing, and I just gotta look for it, and I'm able to like, and instead of feeling bad, like you said, I take control of my emotional frequency, and instead of having my emotional frequency come down because I feel bad about that bad thing that happened, I look for the lesson in that blessing, and then I feel good and I feel grateful because there was something in there for me, right? And that's how I'm able to. So it's not about not doing things or working less, but it's about remaining, how you said it earlier, unemotional, right? And actually, in Powers versus Force, I don't know if you've ever seen, or anyone listening has ever seen, like this cone, upside down cone, right? And at the bottom, there's like the low frequencies like fear, anger, guilt and all of that. And then at the top, there's like gratitude and love and all of that. Well, in half of that cone, right, neutrality, that's when power starts, right? So force is like all the emotional frequencies on the bottom, and then power starts, after neutrality. And what you said, remaining unaffected, like unemotional, not emotionless, but just unemotional, right? That's like the key to starting to get into that power, into flow, right? Remaining unemotional, not because you don't care, but because you know that this is just part of the journey, and what you gotta do is not complain or blame or bitch about it, but look for the lesson and grow.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome.
Yeah, I think
Well, man,
I think there's
go
if
ahead.
you wouldn't mind me just touching on one more thing. I think also when it comes down to not letting your emotions run you, just a quick example is like when you wake up in the morning and you told yourself you're going to go to the gym. 99% of the time, I would rather not go to the gym. It's what I feel after I'm done with the gym that matters. And that's where it's just like, I don't let my emotions tell me what I'm going to do, because my emotions are saying, Kyle, you don't want to go. But I know, and that's where I just shut it off. I'm like, we're not doing that today. We're not letting you're not winning today, right? Your
Yeah.
emotions and especially the negativity side, it's not winning today. So you go to the gym, and you tell me afterwards if you feel better or worse. Everyone's going to feel better, even if you only walk for 10 minutes. Let's say you can't
You
do anything
went.
else. Yeah, you went and you walked for 10 minutes. So like just being having the ability to control your emotions, operate on the things that you told yourself you're going to do, and then when you're done, take a quick second and reflect on what just happened, and then use that moving forward.
Hmm. Awesome. So, man, I just want to see what your take is on this, your opinion. Um, so basically, today I woke up at 4, right? And I went through my 1 hour morning routine, and then I started reading, right? Like the book that I do 45 of spiritual development, 45 minutes, and then 45 minutes of like a skill. My camera went off, so if I stay frozen, it's all good. You still hear me, right?
Yep, you're good.
Okay. So yeah, and then 45 minutes, right? But then when I was reading, man, I just couldn't. I was like falling asleep. I woke up extremely tired. And then I like got up, started jumping, did like a couple of jumping jacks, and then I took some breaths, and then I went back to reading. And then that didn't stop. I just like couldn't keep focused. I couldn't keep my eyes open, and I was just extremely tired, man, like exhausted. And I tried to like I tried another thing, right? I went to have a drink of water. I did more jumping jacks, and then that didn't stop. So I went back to sleep. Right, I went back to sleep for like 3 hours. Woke up feeling amazing. I've done like a couple of calls today. I got more calls, and I feel great. And I'm gonna go to the gym, and I'm gonna do all of the things that I didn't do in the afternoon. But the reason I'm telling you this, man, is because sometimes like I was just fucking exhausted, and there was nothing that I could do about it, right? And I just went back to sleep for 3 hours. Um, and I skipped all of the personal development work that I would do that I would normally done, and when I woke up, I just went to work. But what I'm trying to say is that before, if I didn't like keep my commitments the way that I wanted to keep them, I would have felt bad about myself. I would have felt
Mm,
um, guilt and
guilty.
shame. Yeah, exactly. And guilt and shame. You want to know where guilt and shame is on that, like on that cone that I talked about, all the way to the bottom,
Yeah.
right? So now I just like let it go, and I was like I cut myself a break, and realized that it's not because I'm a bad person or I'm lazy or anything. I was just exhausted, man. I've been doing monk mode. So monk mode just means doing everything that I want to do, and you know, yeah, basically for every single day. And I've been doing it for the last 4 weeks. So basically 28 days, and I was just exhausted, man. But that's what happened. So what do you think about that, man? Do you think that's like cool, or do you think it was my emotions that didn't let me go?
So just hearing like the time frame, and this is what just your like 45 minutes of spiritual, 45 minutes of like it's like personal development, like business stuff,
Skills, hard skills, yeah,
skills. Yeah. Personally, I think that that is a good amount of time, and I think people should set goals that they can do every single day in a reasonable time frame. And personally, for me, like I think you're better off. I think you're better off doing a little bit less every single day, but doing it every single day than going really, really hard. That's like people are like, I went, I went balls to the walls today. It's like, all right, great. Can you
once,
do it? Yeah. Can you do it tomorrow? No.
yeah,
Okay. Can you do it the next day? Yes. It's like, well, I already won because the last 10, 20, 30 days in a row, I've done half of what you've done, but I've done it consistently. So like, dude, there's days I take off too. And I don't take all the day off. Like I don't like you still got your stuff done. But there's times where I wake up in the morning a little bit late and I can't get my reading in before I go to the gym or my journaling in before I go to the gym. So I just grab my cup of coffee, I go to the gym and I'm like, I'm good. Like I can get it in later. Like I don't really guilt myself into certain situations. But what I personally, I wake up every single morning and I write down 5 tasks that I need to complete for the day, and that is 100% my priority. Anything outside of those 5 tasks is a win. Outside of that, like going to the gym is not one of the tasks because that's just something I do.
yeah,
Drinking water, and eating healthy. Those aren't my tasks. My tasks are like reach out to 10 new lenders, go to that meetup, have the podcast with Alex. Big ticket items that move me forward.
for sure.
Make all your sales calls. When I cross those 5 off, I've won the day. I'm good. I've already won. So that's what I focus on. I focus on things I can do every single day, and I don't like. I'm not a midnight worker guy. Dude, after 6 o'clock, I don't work. I wake up
Me
early
too.
and I work
Yeah.
till 7 o'clock. But I almost guarantee you, I work less than what most people would think. But I move the needle and I don't miss.
Hmm. Awesome. That which is what matters, right? Don't not
Yeah.
missing. Um, Man, I finished my podcast with a couple of questions, so I'm gonna go ahead and ask. We
Yeah.
do have a few minutes, and I'm gonna go ahead and ask them. So the first one is, let's see, what false belief do you see, real estate investing beginners have that holds them back? Maybe you had it, maybe you see people have it, but what is a false belief that you see most people that want to get started in real estate investing have that holds them back?
I think it's analysis paralysis. I think people can look at any deal, run their numbers 100 different ways, and they let the what if mentality run them. And that's where I think having the ability to, one, take a less risky investment initially, partner on an investment with someone that's experienced, or hire a coach will remove that from you. And after one or two deals, you won't have that uncertainty that's surrounding you to get into your first deal. The first one's the most important. The first, second, third one's the most important because just getting your foot, in the door is one of the harder pieces. Um, I think in general, the biggest problem that people have is just analysis paralysis. Just looking at, and this goes back to like what lane you're in, just looking at 1,000 different asset classes, 1,000 different books, 1,000 different podcasts, and just letting your mind run in totally different directions. I think you should pick one lane. You don't have to stay there forever, but you have to start somewhere. Picking one lane, one or two pieces of people, like content. Like if Alex is your guy, pick him, and maybe one other person. Like just pick a few lanes, let them come together and then start moving forward in the right direction. But like, if you want to buy a single family home or if you want to buy a multifamily, you shouldn't be out there spending your whole time listening about cryptocurrency. Like,
Yeah.
it's not a good source of your time.
Yeah, but that's what people do. That's crazy, right? Like it's
I
crazy.
know.
Like that's what I used to do as well. So I don't blame
Same.
them. Man, the next question is building relationships and networking is key to be successful in the real estate investing game and raising capital and finding deals. You're not so much about raising capital and all of that, but still, right? Like networking
Yes.
is key. So, what successful strategy or advice can you give on that?
Yeah. So one of my guys that I really like to follow, his name is Brad Lee out of Las Vegas, and he says the more hands you shake, the more money you make. And the legitimately every single person that you think won't connect with you, right? Like, I started challenging myself that every single week I was going to go up to 3 random people and just introduce myself. We've gotten so far away. Dude, like, people are extremely awkward now. I don't know if you've noticed, but in person, people are they're just uncomfortable to be around because people have lost their social skills, their ability to shake a hand and say, "Hey, I'm Kyle. Nice to meet you. I'm a real estate investor. Like, what's your name?" And people just don't do that anymore because it's easier to follow people on Instagram, which social media is extremely powerful. But we walk by hundreds of people every single day. And if you're working from home, it might not be the same, but like, even going to the gym or going to your job, we walk by people every single day and don't just shake someone's hand or introduce ourselves. And I think when it comes down to networking, being part of being part of the right groups, a lot of people will say be a part of a bunch of groups. I don't believe that. I think you need to be a part of the right groups. And the right groups will lead you to the right people, and the right people will lead you through the right doors. And that's just something that people need to look. And while you're going through those doors, shake everyone's hand.
Awesome. That was a great advice, man. I really agree with you. And again, if people liked what Kyle is all about, and they are like, "Oh, this guy does not only help me when it comes to getting my first property, but he talks about all of these amazing things that I struggle with, right? Like my discipline, my morning routine. I don't have one of those. I don't know what to do, here. I don't know what to do there. I don't know how to handle whenever I feel this way. Um, so they liked you, right? And they're like, oh, I see how this guy can not only help me in real estate, but when also when it comes to my life, right? To my everyday. So where would be the best place for them to get more information about you, man, or just connect or whatever?
Yeah, it'd be my Instagram. Just go to KJ_root. Shoot me a DM or follow or comment, or even if you don't like me, shoot me a DM and tell me why. Like, I love
Awesome.
conversation, so it's all good.
Nice. Awesome. And so uh that's it, Kyle. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you, and it was a great episode. I'll see you later.
Thanks, Alex.
Thank you for listening to the Modern Real Estate Investor Podcast. We want you to know that we love and appreciate you, and we are super grateful about being part of your journey of becoming a successful real estate entrepreneur and having it all. Please share this episode with a friend who you think will be impacted positively. Send it to someone who you know is interested in real estate and dreams of having it all and being the best they can be across all areas. And if you thought this episode was really valuable, share it on your social media as a post or a story. We have a special gift for all of those who contribute to the Modern Kings and Queens movement. So for those of you who decided to share this episode and help us spread our message, send me a message letting me know on any social media platform at Alex Ramirez, the Modern King. I have a special surprise for you. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you later.